I think they make a lot of money out there or something.
Yeah.
Already.
It's a medical thing, training.
Two alarms. I have my sister and my little daughter.
Y'all ready, right?
I am ready.
Okay, Greenville City Council will come to order. Please call the roll.
Ely? Present. Godwin?
Here.
Norris?
Present.
Rogers?
Here.
Schmidt?
Here.
Whitaker?
Here.
Brown?
Okay, if I can get everyone to stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Evening, everyone. Council members, you were emailed out the minutes from the last meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, they will stand approved as read. Well, I will appoint Katie as interim clerk. Thank you. We don't need to take a vote on that or anything, right? Okay. Okay. Here's my appointment. You gotta walk the line.
Okay.
All right. So if there's no changes, I will take that approved as emailed out. Council members, you were also emailed out the current financial report. I will take a motion to approve, if so. Move. Who is that down here? Approved by, or motion to approve by Mr. Godwin. Call the roll.
Ely? Present. Yes. Present. Yes. Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes. Okay. Approval of the agenda. There's no additions or changes on that, so I'll take a motion for that.
Move to approve the agenda as presented.
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to approve the agenda as presented. Call the roll.
Ely? Yes. Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes. Okay, moving on to public hearing. Anyone that would like to come up, please state your name and address.
Tracy Tryon, Superintendent, Greenville Union Cemetery, 200 West Street here in Greenville. I'm coming to you tonight to see if there's a way for the cemetery to get relief from the stormwater surcharge that's on our current water sewer bill. I've actually had a personnel from the water department out there, and they went around with me. All along West Street is cemetery property, and then down 571 from the corner of West to the city limit sign. There are 3 stormwater drain off that come off of West Street, and 2 off of West and 1 off of 571, and they all sit higher than the cemetery ground, which all drains back to the Greenville Creek. Also, I know when asking for relief, if we maintain the mowing and picking up trash and things, which we constantly do daily, that constitutes some relief there. But if you could maybe proceed in yourself, Mr. President, to assign that to committee, I'd appreciate it.
I will do that request. So utility committee request to look at the storm drain fees for the Union Cemetery, and that consists of Clarence, Mr. Norris, and Mr. Brown. If you could have that back for the second meeting in July, which would be the 18th. Is that enough time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
May I ask, would that meeting be held here, or would you want to do it on the cemetery grounds so you can see what I'm talking about? I'll provide golf carts for you to get around in.
Oh, heck. Donuts too?
I tell you what, depending on the time of day you come out, there'll be maid rights just pick them up on your way.
Yeah.
He just made you an offer you can't refuse.
But he clarified.
I'll let you know, Tracy.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Public hearing? All right, moving on, administration reports. Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Council President. Almost remembered. So I have just a few announcements real quick so we can get going. Don't forget, there's Saturday farmers market at the Rotary Park, 10 a.m. to 2. I was able to go with our Economic Development Director, Mike Bowers, and we visited Beauty Supply. It wasn't too long since we've been there, but just to report a little bit, they do well out there. They have maybe around 275 people working, maybe a little bit more part-time. They have, it was interesting that they are probably the most productive building, plant, whatever you call it, distribution in the whole company. So they send out somewhere around 50,000 items a month. It's incredible, amazing stuff. So it was a good visit. So there was some interest on a couple of things that they wanted to talk about too. They want to be more involved in the community. So they gave them a couple of different names in Main Street. So they have a person that's going to head that up, and some people want to volunteer to do some things for the community. So that's coming up. We'll let you know for sure fireworks are on. I have enough money to pay for the fireworks this year. So that's going to be July 2nd. Don't forget, that's a Sunday night around 10 o'clock when it gets dark. So, and then don't forget First Fridays. It's already coming up pretty soon. It's going to be the 7th of July. It's going to be called the Firecracker Friday. It's 6 to 9 on the 7th, July 7th. There'll be, and also there's live music at night at Yellow Park to celebrate, and there'll be some, they encourage people to come out and cruise. Excuse me. Cruise around Broadway, so we'll see if they get some takers or not, so it'll be fun. So with that, I'll pass.
Okay, thank you. Safety Service Director, Mr. Delk.
Thank you, Mr. President. A few things for this evening. First, North Ohio Street project is still ongoing. The concrete crews are supposed to be here starting tomorrow. It'll probably take them into the first of next week to get the sidewalks and curbs all poured. The traffic light crew is here now, boring in all the lines underneath the intersection for the new traffic lights. The pole bases have been poured. Next week, about midweek, the lining crew is supposed to come and perform all the lining. They expect that to possibly go into the week of the July 4th week, a couple days into that. And then we'll have a punch out list. If everything goes well, I hope to have asphalt crews in here by about the week of the 10th of July. So that would be exciting to get that project wrapped up. We still will be waiting on traffic light poles to actually get the new traffic lights installed, but that should be pretty easy compared to the rest of it. Schweitzer Street, so we applied for a grant through systematic safety funding. We just received word last week that we received that funding, $3.8 million of it, which is incredible. 3.8 million. So it's a 90-10 split. We'd be on the hook for 10% of, at least 10% of that. The whole project is probably closer to $8 million. So we have some more funding to come up with. That wouldn't be constructed until 2028. So we have a lot of design, get more funding in place to redo Schweitzer Street. So this portion that we received funding for was just from Burt to the Corp. It would be what they call a road repurpose or a road diet, curbs, sidewalks, some storm and water infrastructure, along with street lighting. And then I've just applied this week for small cities, which is up to $2 million more for that same section. I have to do a presentation at the end of July, and then we won't hear back from them until probably late fall if we receive that other $2 million. And then we'll apply for OPWC funding to do something similar from Fair to Burt, which would be adding sidewalks, curbs, street lighting down through there as well. So still ways to go, but 3.8 million is a big chunk of it that really helps, and it makes it more attractive when you apply for the other grant funding, that you already have that grant funding lined up to try to move something forward to get that project off the ground.
Deal to jump in. It is kind of a big deal, and we've already been working on it for 2 years. I mean, it's been going on that long already. So it's pretty interesting that we still got that long to go yet, 4 more years before it's done.
It's surprising to see how many people walk down Schweitzer and it's in the road.
Right.
They're walking down through there.
For the fair, for, pedestrian traffic, and, you have the trailer courts out there, and there's just a lot of walking, bicycling going on out there. So it's exciting, but we're, a little ways off. It'll be here before we know it. A lot more funding to line up, and a lot of design work, and a lot of things to work through. But I think we'll get there. Let's see here. The mayor swore in a new police officer this morning, Stephen Kreitzer. So we bring him in our city family at the police department. He'll be an officer. He's already trained as far as the academy goes. So he'll have officer field training to do over at the PD, but we should be able to get him on the road rather quickly. Tomorrow is Make Music Day. So Darke County DD, along with Darke County Center for the Arts, is hosting a sing-along down at Yellow Park from 11 to 1. Everyone's invited. They would like any elected officials that could come to come around noon and sing We're All in This Together. Roxanne's going to lead us.
Sing along with Roxanne.
Solids handling, you have it on your agenda tonight. Mr. Sturgill's here from the wastewater plant to answer any questions that come up with that. Phase 2 sidewalk markings have begun, so if anyone starts to get any phone calls or questions about marks on sidewalks, phase 2 is kind of over around the K-8 school. So the marking is started. Next we'll mark it, then we'll get all the engineer's estimate together, and then we'll send out letters, and then it'll be next spring, summer project. But we're trying to move things ahead. That way, when it comes to the assessment side, we can only assess in August. So that way we can get the assessments out early and give people longer timelines. And last but not least, the city, thanks to Katie, is hosting a blood drive for city employees, and if any, and their families, and if any council members would like to sign up, get with Katie. It's on August 30th from 10 to 2. They're going to do it here in the city building in the basement, and we're making a little competition out of it internally. So we met with the lady from a blood drive office, and some facts that kind of come out once you start talking about blood drives is pretty mind-blowing and impressive, and all that they do and the work that goes into it and the turnaround, it's pretty eye-opening. So we would encourage anyone to sign up for that. And with that, I will pass. August 30th.
30th, thank you.
You're welcome.
Giving blood is a necessity that anybody that can give should, if they can, can. I just gave my 76th unit the other day.
Oh, wow.
All right, good. Awesome.
You need to make it a point.
Way to go.
Yep.
Yeah, Katie sent an email out to everybody, so it'll be in our email boxes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Delk. Law director is not here tonight. City auditor, Mrs. Wellman.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. Just a few items. First of all, I wanted to let you know that the 22 audit should be concluding at the end of the month. And of course, just in time for us to start on the 24 budget and start down the road again. I also need to notify council that an escrow account was set up at Greenville National Bank on June 14th for a fire loss at 411 Central Avenue for $14,000. And finally, I wanted to let you know that in the supplemental ordinances, there is a salary appropriation of $663,355.04. And these are the rest of the funds that we had received from the American Rescue Plan relief. And we are transferring those over into the general fund at this point. And with that, I will pass.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Sauter. Moving on to committee reports, there are none reported back. I do have one more committee assignment I would like to make, and this is to the utility committee also. One of the things that I've fought for a long time, and I brought it up with the safety service director and the mayor, was before we pave a street, we need to make sure the curbs are in good shape. So we want to look at, my vision is if we know what street we're paving in 2024 and 2025, we look at those curbs, we notify the homeowner, and sort of like the sidewalk program where we let them fix it themselves or we do it and assess it. So I just want to look at if that's something we want to do and go from there. So that's the assignment. Any questions on the assignment?
Well, you give me time on that one, right?
Yeah. So, and I'm fine. Let's push that out to, I'll push that out to the second meeting in August. So that gives you 2 full months.
August 15th, Mr. President.
Jeff, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, John and I were driving around yesterday looking at some things, and that subject came up, and it only makes sense to do that. To be repaving and having the curbs all chipped up and broken up, doesn't make any sense to be spending the money to repave and have to deal with having those curbs look like they do, and having the ends of the asphalt chipping up.
Yeah. This would just, my vision on this would just be for, you have several residents out there that have no curbs in areas. This would just be where we have curbs presently. Okay. Moving on to ordinances and resolutions. We have 3 on here. First is a supplemental ordinance.
Supplemental appropriations ordinance, an ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending on December 1st, 2023. The supplemental ordinance allows for appropriations in the General Fund and American Rescue Plan Relief Fund in the sum as follows. Office supplies, City Council in the amount of $500. These funds are needed for donation to the Dark County Association of Fire Chiefs and were provided by R.D. Porter Oil Company. Salaries, American Rescue Plan Relief in the amount of $663,355.04. These funds are needed to reimburse the general fund salaries and were provided by the American Rescue Plan federal funding.
Make a motion to suspend the rules on this ordinance and read it by title only, second and third time.
Moved by Mr. Godwin to suspend the rules, read this ordinance second and third time by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Ewing?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023. An ordinance to make additional appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the City of Greenville, State of Ohio during the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023.
Move to adopt the ordinance.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to adopt the ordinance. Discussion? Call the roll.
Ewing?
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 2, we have a ordinance increasing street openings in connections with the 2023 Omni-Fiber project.
An ordinance increasing the number of street openings to be permitted and reducing the amount of the guarantee bond to be required in connection with the 2023 Omni-Fiber project. This ordinance amends section 1020.02 of the codified ordinances to increase the number of street openings to 700 and also decreasing the guarantee bond fee to $250,000 and $25 per street opening for the 2023 Omni-Fiber project.
Move to suspend the rules on this ordinance, give it second, third reading by title only.
Moved by Mr. Rogers to suspend the rules, give this ordinance second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
An ordinance increasing the number of street openings to be permitted and reducing the amount of the guarantee bond to be required in connection with the 2023 Omni-Fiber project. An ordinance increasing the number of street openings to be permitted and reducing the amount of the guarantee bond to be required in connection with the 2023 Omni-Fiber project.
Move to adopt the ordinance?
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to adopt the ordinance. Discussion?
700 openings? 700 openings?
Yes. For the whole city.
That's a lot of holes.
A lot of them are, some are in just the right of way, but might not be in the street.
No new streets?
Could possibly be, yes.
Any other discussion?
Does that include if they're going under the roadway when they do the pressure?
Yeah, so anytime by law, any directional boring obviously helps tearing things up, but by law, anytime you directional bore across a gas line, water line, sewer line, they have to spot hole that line and watch the bore head go across that point without hitting it. So that there's still holes involved in the directional boring side of things.
Okay, very good.
Any other discussion? Call the roll.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on to number 3, resolution authorizing safety service director to enter into a contract with Jones and Henry for solid handling program or project.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into a contract with Jones and Henry Engineers LTD for the rendering of professional engineering services for the solids handling project at the wastewater treatment plant. This resolution authorizes the safety service director to enter into a contract with Jones and Henry for the rendering of professional engineering services for the solids handling project at the wastewater treatment plant.
Move to suspend the rules, give this resolution a second and third reading by title only?
Moved by Mr. Schmidt to suspend the rules, give this resolution second and third reading by title only. Discussion? Call the roll.
Ely. Yes. Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into a contract with Jones and Henry Engineers LTD for the rendering of professional engineering services for the solids handling project at the wastewater treatment plant. A resolution authorizing the safety service director to enter into a contract with Jones and Henry Engineers LTD for the rendering of professional engineering services for the solids handling project at the wastewater treatment plant.
Move to adopt.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker to adopt. Discussion? Call the roll.
Ely.
Yes.
Godwin.
Yes.
Norris.
Yes.
Rogers.
Yes.
Schmidt.
Yes.
Whitaker.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, under new business, we have nothing. Under old business, we have a tabled zoning amendment recommendation. Is there any movement anyone wants to do on that? If not, we'll move on to council representation outside committee, Council on Aging, which would be, yes.
I just want to report that the Senior Citizen Center is being slowly evolving and getting developed. And they do have quite a few activities that the local nursing homes, rehab centers, all over, our immediate area have been participating in. The one that was brought to my attention that seems to be a huge success is out at the Birchwood Training Center and Senior Center, which used to be the old Wayne Industries. They have line dancing, and I guess it gets pretty active out there on line dancing day. So I think that's great. I know they're working towards developing some other programs, even including having meals once a month. And most of the time when they have a speaker that comes in, whoever the speaker is brings, cupcakes or brownies or something. So it's not a done deal yet, but it's moving forward. So thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate that.
thank you for the update.
Okay. Doris, is there a person that people can contact and find out
It's
what's
kind of-
going on out there?
Yeah, you can call the Birchwood Center. I think her name is Christy Brewer,
Oh, okay, Chris.
and she takes care of the calendar booking out at Birchwood. And if any of you, if you want to try to have a meeting or something out there, you can contact them because it's, county commissioners, it's last night I was there for a meeting for the central committee. And, it doesn't cost you anything as long as you're like a county organization. And it's a very nice facility. It has excellent Wi-Fi, has all kinds of audio system. You have to bring your own computer though, but it's very nice. Very nice.
Does Greenville Transit go to that location?
I'm not sure. I would imagine they
It's in the
would.
city, it should,
It should,
It's
right,
across the street, so it's charged the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, they can.
Because I was asked that about something about Greenville Transit didn't go out there or something because it was out of the county or whatever.
Well, they still they still would, even though it's not in considered city
It's
limits.
just
but it'll cost a lot.
contiguous, yeah.
It could cost a lot more. But since it's right there, right across the street from the industrial park, that's still the same cost. So that's what it's $1.50 each way.
Okay, thank you.
all right. Thank you, Ms. Steely. Communications.
We have the monthly report of May from Transit.
Is that it?
That's it.
We're not going to make you read that line by line?
No, we're not.
Okay. Call council. Wow, we're flying through this tonight.
Ely. I just want to add on to what Ryan was talking about down at YOLO Park tomorrow. The program's was initiated by one of the DD students out at, one of the county DD students. She has a very nice voice and she's just really developing her voice. So one of the things that she's done is she's worked with Sue Houston to get this going. And the other thing, some of the people that performed at the Hollywood Night of Stars, they're coming back for a second performance. So I would just encourage you all to, if you can, go down and support them. They have such a great time doing their music, and some of them are really, really good, and some of them give it all they got. So I ask you to support them. With that, I pass.
Godwin?
Make a motion to excuse the absence for this month.
Okay, motion to excuse the absence. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes.
Just like to thank everybody for coming up tonight, and with that, I'll pass.
Norris?
All right, just a couple things. I'll try to be fast. We had a good turnout last weekend with our, we had 2,200 people show up for the tournament for GGSA, so the softball was rolling pretty good out there. We're going to have a Freedom Fest tournament, which is an annual thing. It'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So we'll be busy up there on the north end again of town. And we're looking at, again, about 38 teams, and that brings about 1,800 to 2,000 people in there for the north end. Mr. Brandenburg, since you're here, how is, we sworn a new police officer today, looking at getting another one into the training process. How's the fire department staffing at this point?
Could you come up and speak at the podium, please? That way everyone can hear you.
Currently, we are staffed 100%, so
Oh, good.
we've got full staff, so
Yep. Lieutenant positions, I mean, captains.
all officer positions are filled and all firefighter positions are filled, so we have no vacancies.
Fantastic. How many are you running on auxiliary now?
We actually, currently, the last person that was on the auxiliary resigned, so we do not currently have anybody on the auxiliary right now.
Okay. At least we got a full staff
Yep.
all the way across the board. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And with that, I'll pass.
Schmidt,
I will pass.
Whitaker,
Beginning in June, we put in place a code enforcement officer and assigned by the police department to oversee and enforce our zoning laws and ordinances pertaining to nuisance, health, safety, and environmental issues on properties and grounds around the city. And, that includes abandoned cars, debris, garbage, trash, any situation where it looks like a junkyard. John and I, President Baumgartner and I took a ride around town, portion of the south end of town yesterday, and we probably could have handed out a couple of 100 citations if we were doing that. And there's a lot of situations that need to be cleaned up. And I just want to encourage people that have things on their porches, debris around the yard, cars parked on the drive or on grass or on the sidewalks, and we saw plenty of that. Please refrain from doing so. Be considerate of your neighbors, be considerate of the city that we're trying to be. We want to keep our community looking nice and safe and improve everybody's quality of life here in Greenville. And I think that's an effort that needs to be made by everyone. And if you're a property owner, it's probably up to you to make sure that your tenants are doing so as well. So with that, I pass.
Baumgartner.
Yeah, so when the mayor was talking about 4th of July, it kind of dawned on me that, since you've been mayor, you've kind of owned that project and took it from, spending $4,000 or $5,000 a year to raising, how much are we spending this year?
32,000.
32,000. I'd just like to personally thank you because I know that that's a kind of a pet project of yours. And you've kind of taken that and ran with it. And, now we're spending $32,000, which is amazing from what it was.
Wonderful sponsors.
Yeah. So I'd just like to personally thank you for that. And I'm sure the rest of the council agrees that that's just what a tribute you've done there. And then, Jeff and I, we were talking, I told Jeff, I'm like, hey, you need to get out of the north end and come and look at the south end where I live. And where Dolores lives.
That's right.
And, Jeff was like, well, is it bad? I'm like, let's go for a ride. So we rode around an hour and a half.
Asking that. Big campaign down that way,
So I said, let's go for a ride. So we rode around, and the more that we drove, I think I knew it was bad, but the more we drove, I didn't realize how bad it was. So and I said this last council meeting, as council members and department heads that's sitting out here, we're all responsible. And Ryan's got a zoning officer now that's doing this. So he's not gonna be able to see everything. So if we help and we can get this city cleaned up, because there's some crazy stuff going on out there. People, there's one yard full of refrigerators and appliances, scrap yard. numerous, I would say we've probably seen 20 to 30 vehicles with expired tags just sitting in backyards and et cetera. So let's help Ryan. I know this is a pet peeve of Ryan's too. He wants to get the city cleaned up. So let's help Ryan and our summertime code enforcement get this cleaned up.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Were you finished? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I just wanted to tell you, Ryan, a little piece of paper that I gave you, I drove past that property and it's cleaned up. So I say kudos to you and your code enforcement officer. That made me happy, and I sent the resident that issued the complaint a notice of same. So thank you.
Look, I think 95% of the time we're gonna have that citizen or that homeowner or that person renting is gonna just take care of it. It's the 5% that we're gonna get pushed back. So if we could get 95% of the city cleaned up, I think that'd be awesome. And again, Mayor, thank you for the 4th. I won't be here. I'll be out of town, but I think that's awesome what you've done with that. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, we forgot Leon. How'd we do
Wait a
that?
minute.
Well, normally the president of council gets to speak last.
Oh, I'm speaking out again.
Please don't talk again after you're done.
Couple of questions, Ryan. The donut shop, in Wagner, what's happening there?
Dunkin' Donuts. They're currently in a holding pattern, finishing some other locations. They're having some issues with funding. They still plan to come to Greenville. They still own the property, and obviously they have pipe and some expenses already out there. I think he told us they have all the metal shell already bought. It's just a matter of over the rate increases, they went from being able to build 7 Dunkin' Donuts a year to 4 or 5 Dunkin' Donuts a year. So everything kind of got spread out a little further on their funding side of things. Last conversation that we had with him was probably 6 weeks ago, and he said he was hopeful that it would still happen in 2023, but if not, it would probably be 2024.
Okay, the other question I had was on Sycamore and 3rd Street.
Okay.
It's not downtown, but it's close enough to downtown that building looks terrible. It'd be nice to be able to get something done with that, either refaced or something to make it look like a nice building, because it's really terrible. And what I'm afraid is going to happen at some point is something will start falling down onto the sidewalk and street and so forth, and then we'll maybe have a mess that like Troy's got. We don't want that either. It's close enough to downtown that people can see it. I drive past it continually. So
Nuisance for commercial properties, kind of written down. Be nice to have.
yeah. So anyway, if we can get that cleaned up, and be sure appreciate.
Yeah. So you're saying currently we don't have any nuisance for commercial?
I don't know. I don't think so.
We can do
But
nuisance
some-
abatement on commercial.
Okay.
The code is a little bit different on the commercial side of things, and
Okay, yeah.
the conversations have been had about that property, and it's we're working on it. It's a work in progress. I'll continue to work on it. How's
If
that?
it's just falling down, it is a little dangerous if you're over that area. Stay
Right.
back away from the building.
Yeah,
No doubt about it.
because Troy's had their street and parking spots and different things like that. Of course, they're more downtown where that building is, but we can be in the same situation.
Yeah.
And with that, I pass.
All right.
You can talk again now, John.
We already called it, yeah. So I have a motion from Mr. Schmidt to adjourn. Call the roll.
Ely?
Yes.
Godwin?
Yes.
Norris?
Yes.
Rogers?
Yes.
Schmidt?
Yes.
Whitaker?
Yes. Good evening, everyone.